Hey, it's your man, Doc Love, aka the Breakup Coach, relationship speaker, and relationship education advocate, back with the Why Is This Show Challenging podcast. Like we say always, thank you for supporting us and just giving us so much love. And as always, I have my lovely co-host and my wife, Miss Lady Love. How you feeling today, Miss Lady Love?
Feeling great. How about you?
I'm doing wonderful, wonderful, definitely. Like I said, we just thank you. We're getting a lot of response and feedback for what we're doing, and we really appreciate all of it. We appreciate everybody that's commenting, everybody that's answering our questions that we ask as well, and all the people that are just clicking on our podcast, watching it all the way through, and also the people that are clicking on the shorts and watching those as well. So just thank you for all of the love and all of the support. We really appreciate it, and we just feel so wonderful that we have opportunity to give you this content, and we're just going to keep doing this thing for you, okay? So now we have a special topic today, like always, that we want to talk about. I'm going to let Miss Lady Love introduce that, and we're going to get right into it.
Yeah, so today we're actually going to be talking about relationships, of course. And the question that I want to pose today is, where did we learn about relationships, and what do we think currently about relationships now?
Wonderful. Yeah. So I'm going to take it back to the old school. To me, where every relationship starts is with parenting. And I have a rule that I've formulated that talks about basically the three ways that we learn relationship. The first way we learn relationship is through being taught relationship or self-taught, meaning if you're teaching yourself relationship through books or maybe through coaching or some type of mechanism where you're taking up the initiative to teach yourself. The second way you learn relationship is through observation. Now, I like to say observation with context, because we know that we can always observe someone, a family or what have you, and it looks like they have a wonderful relationship on the outside, but the context is knowing that is a good relationship. So basically having that observation also with context of knowing you are observing a really good relationship. The third one is the one that is most common to us. It's the one we know the most, and that's experience. Experience is really the thing that a lot of people learn their relationship from. But the one thing about experience is we have to learn from the experiences that we go through. And unfortunately, in a lot of situations, we don't actually learn a lot from the relationships that we go through. We may learn a lot of negative things, and that is something that's not healthy. But we really don't learn all that we need to learn. So basically, for me, it starts in the home. It starts with your parents and those parents teaching you everything that you need to know about relationship and how you learn relationship. Then from there, you are observing your parents. You're seeing them in that environment. You see the love. You see how it is developing and how it's growing, how they love you, how they love each other, all those things. Then by those two things, it goes to experience. So when you've been taught through your parents of how to love, and now you experience it by seeing that love, then when you have your own experience, it shapes that experience because you've already been taught and also you've seen how a good, healthy relationship is supposed to be.
Well, I will say that if I think about my early stages of learning what love is, I must say that it really came from stories. It came from fairy tales, or it came from the Huxtable family, or it came from media, and now we have social media. But as I was growing up, I feel like the concept of love came from a very fairy tale based background. Like when we think about relationships, when we say what is a good relationship or what is a healthy relationship, my understanding of what a healthy relationship looks like today looks totally different from what love felt like or what I thought love was as a child. Because you think as a child, love is perfect.
Right.
You think when you're in love, everything is great most of the time. When actually, I know now, being an adult, that in a loving relationship, there still is growing pains that come along with that love, because it's just your life. We're just doing life together. And so all the things that I could experience as a single person, I'm still experiencing them in a relationship, but we're coexisting with each other, dealing with life together. And so that is an amazing benefit to doing life with your mate, a person that you love. And then there are also challenges
Yes.
in doing life with that person, because while you're navigating whatever you're going through in your own life, you're also navigating each other in each other's life. And then if you have children that come from that union or that relationship, then you have another layer
Yes.
of people in your close proximity that you're doing life with. So I'll say definitely on the end of what you were saying, that our first teachers are our parents. But for a lot of us, even if we had parents who were married, if we didn't necessarily feel a lot of love in that relationship, I would say that a lot of my teachings of what love was growing up was in fairy tale books and in media.
Yeah. Yeah. And I could say for me personally, a lot of it was kind of the same thing. I know I was a TV watcher when I was a kid. So, of course, shows, movies, I was a Cosby Show person. And so it was like when you saw that marriage, it was like, okay, this is how it should be. So I know for me, that shaped me in a lot of ways as well. I had both of my parents as well as you did. But even in having that, sometimes that doesn't always mean that a lot of this information is communicated because we have both of our parents. And then, of course, if we have a situation where we only have one parent, then sometimes at least half of that information may not be communicated. So we have to understand that it's best when we have both of our parents, especially when they're the first teachers and they are teaching us that. But for so many people that don't have that, maybe the self-teaching is what is going to be the key. For me, it was the fact that I kind of had to do my own journey. Of course, I had both of my parents, but for me, it was also, as you become an adult, now you're doing this thing on your own. As I spoke about before, both of my parents were deceased by my 21st birthday. So I didn't have a chance to have them influence my adult relationships. And so for me, it was like a journey where I'm an adult and now I'm having to figure out this walk. And I have my siblings, but they have their own kids. So I had to figure that walk out for myself. At first, it seemed like I was coming from an idealistic standpoint. Like, okay, this is the way it's supposed to be, and it's just going to fall into place. During that time, especially in the early stages in my 20s, I received a few deep wounds and cuts from relationships that I thought were going to work out to be something very deep and beautiful, and actually it didn't. And it started to kind of shake my foundation, so to speak. And so now you're kind of trying to get yourself back on track and get yourself back to the footing of, okay, I know that I believe in this. I know that love is possible, but I'm getting some heavy blows here. I'm sustaining some heavy fire that's just basically challenging my resolve when it comes to whether this is possible for me. And the saving grace for me was actually going through the hurt of losing the greatest relationship that I had was really the relationship I had with you the first time. But it allowed me to really reflect on my life and reflect on what type of love do I really want to have?
Right.
What type of experience I'm looking for, and what do I want that to look like for myself?
Exactly.
I think a lot of times, unfortunately, we have gone through life and love, and we are so lucky to have survived to get to a point where, okay, maybe there's a chance that this can be something that I can kind of like or kind of deal with or whatever, to the point that we just take the best thing that we have.
Right.
And we drop that idea of really saying, I can have the relationship I desire. I can have the person I desire. And so, yeah, let's get into that, how you can really feel like you get beat down so much by it that you feel like, okay, I'll just take the best thing that comes along.
That's very interesting, to sometimes get to that point
Yeah.
of feeling like in today's society what people would call settling.
Yes.
It's like, okay, well, let me choose the lesser of the evil, so to speak. When I kind of reflect back into my childhood and what my parents taught me, even when there are challenging times in a family, you still learn. You still learn a lot because, like we said, in a marriage or in a relationship, you're going to deal on both ends of the spectrum of things. What I've come to understand is that I have to understand what my deal breakers were. I had to understand, like you were saying, what do I want? Like,
Right.
I've witnessed my parents' marriage. And if I'm going to be brutally honest, there are times that I saw love, but there are times that I saw things that I never wanted in my life.
I can
So
agree.
it's not as if you just throw the whole marriage away, but you take what you can take from it as learning lessons, and then you say, you know what, I am the creator of my own life. I get to have what I desire to have. I want to have something better than the generation before me. And I would truly say that my parents would want me to have
Right.
a relationship and a marriage better than what they had. I think every parent want their next generation to do better than they did. And if there are children that come from our union, we would want the very same thing.
Of course.
We wouldn't feel like, no, I want you to just have what we had. No, you want them to have better.
Right.
And so I feel in this conversation of you deciding what you want to have, you have to look at these life experiences and say, okay, I'm not judging them in a sense of right or wrong for them. I'm just looking at what is right or wrong for me.
Yeah.
And then once I determine what that looks like and I understand what my deal breakers are, then when I have these different relationships, then I can say, okay, that's not for me. That's a hard no. That's a passable. For instance, I use as an example, in some people's relationships, some of the hard no's are, I don't want somebody that yells or curses me, which is an understandable thing that somebody wouldn't want in their relationship or their marriage. And they notice that if they have conflict with the person that they're in a relationship with, and that person is just nowhere around them being able to resolve how they communicate, then that other person may say, you know what, I don't see this being the type of relationship that I can be in. Maybe because of how I grew up and how I was raised and how that triggers me and triggers some things within me from childhood. I just can't deal with that. But there could be somebody that same person is in a relationship with, and they're like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I'm pretty fiery. I can dish it back out if they give it to me. And it's not a problem for us. And so I feel as if it's great information, like what you were saying. We learn, sometimes our first teacher are our parents, and that's who we learn from. But I feel as if we also, like you said, learn from other people. And I think that's something that I experienced, is that as I got older, my understanding of what this ideal love picture looks like has shifted. Now I've seen people in the real world where I'm like, oh, I like that. I like the way they communicate. Like, I could tell that they had conflict, but it was just the way that they handled their conflict that I like. Maybe I didn't see that conflict resolve itself that way. And so I'm like, okay, so now I'm picking up all this information, and now I can kind of determine what it is that I want, so that I don't have to settle, so that I don't have to be like, you know what, or this is the best that I got, so let me just go along with this. Like, no. And then if that's your decision as well, that's fine too. It's just that we then have to live with our decision.
Yeah. For me, it kind of made me think about a lot of different things in all of that you were saying. One thing I know is that it's easy for people to say, I don't want to settle. And oftentimes I think we use that too much, because really when we think about settling, I guess I look at it from a standpoint of what are we settling for? I'll say this. My journey took me to a place where I had to deal with some of the wounds and some of the bad relationships. And I don't want to say bad relationships, but relationships where I had to learn a lot from it. And I had to understand that it's time for me to learn for me what I need and what's best for me, and stay true to staying on that path. For me, it was blogging. It was me just diving into understanding and learning what relationship really is. And for me, what's going to work best for me. I think when we talk about the word settle and we start to say settle, it's like, oh, I had this ideal that could have came from fairy tales.
Right.
And I'm still believing in and holding on to that fairy tale. And no matter what, I'm going to actually just stay with that story until that story comes to fruition. Right. One of the most powerful things you said was, oftentimes the story changes.
Yes.
As we change.
Because we're ever evolving.
We're ever evolving.
Yeah.
And so if I'm still trying to keep the same story I had as a child, but I've been through so many things that have shaped me, for me to understand that as a child, we might understand it differently, that, oh, you get into arguments, that's possible. Yes, it's possible. As a matter of fact, it's going to happen. Oh, you mean nobody's perfect? Nobody's perfect. So now you start to understand, as you are an adult, it's no perfect marriage. There's no perfect relationship. It's the relationship that you work on, that you continue to be diligent about, you are consistent in. And so that's really, to me, what I think people should look at it as. Not am I settling, or I'm going to make sure that I don't settle. What actually am I trying to attract? What is it that I do want? What is it that I ideally can say, this works for me? And if you find that, you won't be settling. Right. But when we start looking at external things, I'm not going to settle for this external factor or this external thing. To me, you ignore the internal.
Right.
And oftentimes it's those internal things that you really need to make sure you're not settling for.
That's so good. Because when you think about, a lot of times when people are comparing relationships,
yes,
you will see like a man or a woman say, okay, well, my mama, she was this way, or my daddy, he did this, this, and this, and this, and this. And you're trying to compare your mate or your spouse to this person. That's pretty disingenuous because these are two separate people.
Right.
But like you said, if you're looking at the internal character of your mother or your father, my mother, she was a nurturer. She was caring. She was a great listener. My dad was a hard-working man. He was a protector, provider to his family. In the core of who he is, not exactly what he did.
Right.
Because every human being is going to be their own self.
Exactly.
You know, and so it's almost like kind of growing up in yourself to say, it's not for me to take my life experiences so literal. Right. To say, I'm going to have this little checklist, which I had when I was 16.
We all did. We all did.
But I'm going to say, even at that time, my checklist had things specifically about character, of what I wanted in a partner. So I think when you're talking about relationship education, and you're talking about the different ways that you learn relationship, it's something that you have to make good for you and the person you're with, like you just said. Right. It's not about trying to compose this perfect person that's going to be exactly like some prince in knight shining armor, or some person that you've made up in your mind that's the perfect one. But it is about finding what's going to be perfect for you in your life, based on your personality, based on the benefits and the challenges that you bring and what that other person brings as well.
Exactly. Because we are talking about there's no perfect marriage, there's no perfect relationship, there's no perfect way to learn relationship. There's no perfect way to have love. But what we do know and what we do want you to understand is taking the time to learn, taking the time to get the understanding of what works best for you is what's good. That's what we really have to focus on, is making sure that we take the time to say, okay, let me do the work on myself. Because even if you saw the most imperfect relationships growing up, maybe your parents weren't together, maybe there was a situation where it was abuse in the home or whatever, you still have the chance to reshape what your view of that is and to reshape what it is you want. Just because you experience that, that's not the end of it. That's not your end goal. That's not the sum total of your situation. Right. You have the power now to say, hey, I want to see something different. I want to experience something different. And I have to do the work that I need to do to let go of a lot of the negative things that I may have seen growing up, and now take the power into myself to say, hey, this is what I want to see moving forward. And part of that is taking ownership of those things that you experience, not putting them off on someone else or ignoring them or just basically forgetting about they ever happened or pushing them up under the rug. Taking ownership of it is when you can make the changes. We cannot change anything that we don't own. So you have to be able to own it first in order to change that narrative and now change that into what you really want it to be.
Yes, absolutely. And I think the second thing that we were talking about, or the second question that was attached to it, is how do you see love, or how do you see relationships now?
See now, and that's the thing. I was just telling you this morning. I really believe that there's a lot going on out here as far as relationship, and it's a lot of, as they said, mixed signals, and it's making people confused about what relationship and love really is, and it's making people fearful about what love and relationship really is. And as I was explaining to my lovely wife, that like a lot of people are in the wilderness and it's filled with trees and it just looks dense and you just can't see good, healthy relationships. You just don't know how it's possible. You're like, when you do see it, you're wondering, how is that possible? But I really believe the true essence of what it is that we have to do is find whatever we need to find, whether it's assistance. And this is why we bring this podcast to you, is because I believe there's a bridge. And I believe you could be in the wilderness, but if you can find your way or get some help to get to that bridge and cross over that bridge, there is a different way of seeing things once you cross over that bridge. Absolutely. It's like we see relationship differently than most people that's struggling with it. And there's a reason, but we've seen it the way you see it. We've seen it imperfect. We've been cheated on. We've been in relationships that didn't work out. We've been let down by relationships. We've been wounded and hurt. I've had women say some really mean things to me, especially when things don't go their way or the relationship didn't work out. Not that I fired back, but I'm saying we see and have experienced all that. But now I see it totally different.
Right.
And I believe it's because when you learn what you need to learn and you cross that bridge, you're crossing into an area where it's less dense. It's not as many trees. It's not as much confusion. There's not as much fear. And now you can kind of see the possibilities. You can see how it's possible and plausible. But it starts with us. As they say, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. But if we never make that first step, we're never going to be able to travel that 1,000 miles.
Exactly. That's beautiful. Because when you think about walking and going down a journey, there are different feelings. There are different sceneries. You're looking at each step in a different way.
Yes.
And there were times where we were frustrated. There were times where in different relationships, we felt gutted or felt like we didn't want to do this anymore. And then there were times when that hope and that belief in love came back.
Yes.
And so being clear about what you really want is very important. And we kind of talk about this before. You can't flip-flop on relationships. I mean, you can, but the only negative thing that happens when you flip-flop on something like, oh, yeah, I'm in my dating era, I'm in my soft life, I want to get married up or whatever. Or you feeling the guy that you're dating, or you feeling the woman that you're dating, and you're like, my man. And then the next month, maybe that relationship didn't work out, and then you're saying, oh, I'm not thinking about these people out here, the dating pool is trash, whatever. We're uprooting ourselves. We're not really getting far. in whatever process that we're going through, because we keep moving forward and then we keep going back.
Yes.
You get to choose what you want. But when you start getting clear and consistent
Yes.
in the messaging that you're telling yourself, that's when you're going to get further ahead.
Exactly.
If I'm walking on that journey and every mile that I walk, I said, man, this walk is just too long. I'm going back, and then I walk another mile. I'm never going to get anywhere.
Oh.
Because every mile that I walk forward, if I'm walking a mile back, I'm staying in the same place of progression. And so that's why I like the analogy about walking. I was like, oh, this is beautiful. It's the same way, and not just in relationships, in anything.
In anything.
If you're going to get a
Yes.
degree, if every semester you drop out and withdraw, you're not going to get far.
Exactly.
And it's the same exact way with your relationships. Relationships are the cornerstone of humanity.
Yes.
That's why we do what we do, because this is very important. Civilizations are built on
Yes.
family, staying together in a productive way, so that our generations continue to go on.
Exactly.
And so that's why we want to bring this information, because we are just one of many tools. In a toolbox, you have a screwdriver, you have a hammer, you have a saw, you have all these things. We're not saying we're the only people with all the answers.
No.
That's why when you go to a bookstore, there are thousands upon hundreds of thousands of books,
yeah.
because these are all tools to help you in the different aspects of life. And so getting a very clear messaging of what you want, whether you want relationship, what that relationship looks like, what is healthy to you, what are deal breakers of which you absolutely positively do not want. I think that's what I've learned now in my later years of relationship, marriage, being a divorcee, being a widow, and now being a wife to my lovely husband. It's a beautiful journey to learn things about yourself in relationship. And I can remember a very good friend of mine when I was in a place of widowhood, and I was thinking about moving forward with dating, and I had this negative outlook about dating. Like, oh man, I gotta meet somebody and I gotta get to know someone, and dating is trash and you get your heart broken. And I was married for 10 years and I'm not used to this. I don't want to do this again. And she's just like, dating is just meeting someone. It's fun. I've met some great people dating. They weren't my person. I wasn't going to marry them, because we finally mutually understood, like, oh, okay, well, you're cool, but I don't think this is going to work, but we're cool. And her insight and philosophy about dating shifted my perspective. So there I am with another tool, that it is the way that I am perceiving dating.
Yeah.
I am really speaking life into what dating is going to be for me. If I keep on believing this and saying this and thinking this, and when people talk about dating, that's all I talk about, then I'm really saying I'm going to have a bad dating experience.
Right.
These relationships are going to hurt me. These relationships are going to ruin me.
Right.
And they don't have to do that.
Right. I mean, because the bottom line is we speak into existence
Yes.
what it is that we experience.
Right.
If we speak that way about relationship in a negative way, that's what you're going to see.
Yeah.
And so just as you were saying earlier, and I just wanted to piggyback off that, is also what we experience and what we continue to do is going to shape what we get. If you're a gentleman, you're a guy, and you say, hey, I want a wife or I want to be married, but I keep messing around and doing things that is not going to make me a husband, creeping late at night and things of that nature, then what am I really saying?
Right.
What are my actions saying? It's so important to make sure that my actions are in alignment with my words,
Yes.
and that I'm staying clear and consistent when it comes to what it is that I'm saying. So that is
Absolutely.
so important.
That's good.
It is so important to just understand that it's really about, like you said, how we really speak to ourselves. if I want something, then I have to continue to speak that even when things get rough, even when things are not working out, even when it doesn't look good, even when that person rejects me, there may be another blessing that's going to come out of that. You have to basically just give thanks in everything. Give thanks even when things are not good, even when the relationship is not working out, even when it didn't work out. If we give thanks in those things that are not working out the way that we want them to work out, what a blessing we'll get. We know we're going to get blessed when we give thanks and things that do work out. But when you could sit there and say, hey, it didn't work out for me, but I still give thanks anyway, because I'm going to learn something from this and I'm going to have something better from it because of this. Yeah. So as you asked earlier, what I've learned about relationship is I've learned these things that we teach. I learned that no matter what happens, it falls on us, and it falls on what we think and what we believe. Right. If we think that we can have a wonderful and loving relationship, we can. If we don't think that we can have a wonderful or loving relationship, we're also right about that too.
Right. So true.
So if I'm a woman and I believe every man is going to cheat,
you're probably going to have that experience.
That's what I'm going to attract to myself. Yeah. If I'm a man and I believe every woman is going to cheat on me, or she's going to just go out there in the streets and be in the streets, then those are the women that I'm going to attract to me, because that's what I believe. Right.
And it's best that if you're in that place of fear and that place of doubt, that's probably not the best time for you to actively date. That's probably the best time for you to...
No, that's not. It's not probably. That's not.
Right. So I said that to say that's the time that you work on yourself.
Exactly.
That's the time that you watch podcasts similar to these. You link yourself.
And this one.
Yes. And you enlist yourself into certain groups that help to build up that self-love and hopefulness and and excitement and curiosity of having a good relationship. Or if you're just not ready to talk about relationship right now, just work within you being your happy self, because marriage doesn't make you happy.
No.
In order for you to really get the best out of a marriage, the more fulfilled you are within yourself, the more that relationship can be fulfilled within itself.
I got something.
Uh-huh.
Marriage doesn't make you happy. You make marriage happy.
I like that.
You make marriage happy. And so, yeah, and I'm not going to do that. But seriously, that's really what it is. It's what you put into it. Yeah. It's what you bring to the table. And did I say that? Oh my God. So it's really about what you bring. It's about how you approach it. And so just going back to the fact of, if I'm approaching it from a standpoint of, I know what I want, and also I want to make sure that I give to the person that I'm with all that I have, and thus you'll get that back as well. Because all so often we can think about what it is we want and care about what we want, but not really think about the other person, and they have to be in this relationship with you. Right. So on top of making sure that you focus on what it is you want, also do the work to find out what it is that my ideal mate would want. What type of situation from me that person would want from me. And just like it is, fellas as well, very important. I know that it could be hard sometimes to feel like, okay, I've given all this to all these other women and they rejected it, or I've done all this stuff and then every time I turn around, I get the cold shoulder. But I'm telling you, understand, as a man that's gone through it, all of that, just hold that and reserve that for who it's best for. Yes. It's somebody that wants what it is that you have to offer. It's somebody that's waiting for what you have to offer. Right. And don't get discouraged that others don't want it, because only one person needs it, and it's only for one person. You just have to hold on to your value system. Don't allow bad relationships or relationships that didn't go the way that you wanted them to go to erode that. Stay clear and consistent on what it is you want, and just understand that that person is going to be there and they're going to appreciate you And that's all that matters. That one person appreciating you is the only person that matters. Trust me.
Absolutely.
I believe Lady Love have something to say, but I just want to say this. We want to build this community.
Yes.
A community that we can just pour into, that can pour into us, right, and allow us to be able to grow together and really have the ideal love that we want in our relationships.
Absolutely. For our podcast and for our community, I am so excited about this because for so many years, people say when they are parenting or when it comes to marriage or when it comes to relationship or dating, we don't have a book. Nobody knows. Actually, there are many books. Actually, there are many communities. But in this particular community, I want us to be real. I want us to be raw. I want us to have the conversations that open up conversations with each other.
Yes.
Because we need each other.
Yes.
We need each other in marriage. We need each other in healthy relationships.
Yes.
Even in the dating aspect.
Yes.
We have to come to a place of mutual love and respect for each other, even if we're not for each other.
Exactly.
And so we want in this community for you to interact, for you to let us know if there are conversations you want us to broach, if there are things that you want us to research and bring to the community. We want our community and our tribe and our family over here at Why Is This So Challenging podcast. We want us to really be moving in the right direction so that we can see something different than what we've been seeing. One of our viewers on our last episode gave her insight about whether love is a thing now. And her being younger than me, how there's a struggle now with love. There's a struggle with relationships and dating and different things like that. And we want to talk about them because we have experience. And there are other people that we're going to be bringing on our podcast and bringing into our community and going to be a part of this community that's going to give their story, that's going to give their advice, that's going to tell you the things that have helped them to find love, to find their person. So we're excited about what this movement is bringing forth, the education that's coming out of it. And we want you to watch these episodes all the way through.
Yes.
Don't just click on them and then click off. Please let it play in the background. Listen to the episode while you're driving in the car or you're cooking, or you just chilling out, or you just want to listen to something in the background. This is going to allow us to get on the channels of other people. This is going to allow this information that's going to be helpful to so many people. It's going to allow more and more people to hear this message and to be a part of the conversation. So share this information, watch all the way through, and pick up Relationship Reset. This is our ebook. This is the first one of many that we're going to be bringing out. But a lot of these questions, like this question that we asked today, it's in the book. And you're going to delve more and more into relationships, what you want, and how you can change the trajectory of your dating life, your single life, or if you're in a relationship, your relationship life. So definitely go to any of our platforms. It's going to bring you to the website, whyisitsochallengingpodcast.com, and you can get the ebook there. You can download it as soon as you purchase it. You're going to download it and you can start going through the 21-day interactive guide at that time.
Exactly. So at this time, we're going to wrap this up. We're just so happy that you come and be with us, and we're just going to continue to give you this content. And as I say all the time, live and love fearlessly. This is Doc Love, Lady Love. Why Is This So Challenging podcast? We out.